Once you have begun to assess the company's culture, you want to understand where you can improve that culture, and you want to understand why it's so important. The first thing I want to point out is that there is a huge difference between having an organization that is built to accept and expect change, and that's the process improvement culture, versus an organization where none of these things are in place and you have to do a process improvement program. In the process improvement program, you have a lot more headwinds from people who aren't used to change, to leadership who needs longer to understand what you're doing and to get on board. So you need to understand there's a difference between the two, and you need to understand what's possible and what's achievable within your organization. If you have a process improvement culture, people want to grow. They want to see things happen. They're going to support you. Meanwhile, if you're in the process improvement program and you're doing a one-off, it's more challenging. You have to understand with your organization, is that all they're expecting? They just need one thing fixed and then they're done? Or should you invest more early on to really influence the culture? If you assess it's not a great culture, but you can do a few things and they're either going to be accepted or not, you need to understand that. And what we're going to talk about next is how you move from talking to people to how you identify who is a stakeholder that's going to support your change initiative and who's going to kind of resist it, and how you're going to adapt to each of those types of people. That is where we come and we learn about our stakeholder diagram. You can see here there's two axes. One is potential for cooperation, and you have a high and a low, and you have a potential for threat with a low and a high. And there's 4 different types of people here. In low, that is considered a marginal supporter, and you typically want to monitor them. On the high-low, this is classified as non-supportive, and you want to defend. In high-low, these people are considered supportive, and you want to involve them as much as possible. This is fantastic if you have leadership in this quadrant. And then finally, you have people who are high on the potential for cooperation, and they're high as a potential for threat. So maybe they want to see change, but they really hold the keys to, say, IT. And if you're not going to do things maybe their way or compromise, they can shut the whole thing down. So as you go and you talk to people in your organization and you understand the culture, you want to be able to group them and put them into different boxes here. And once you're done, you can step back and see, okay, I have this many people in this box. And what you're going to see at the end is if you don't have enough people in the key boxes, say supportive and involved, and have too many people who are in non-supportive and defend, you're going to have a lot of challenges, and you're going to want to talk with your leadership team to say, okay, what are we going to do about this? Because I really don't want to fall into a pit and be left all on my own. And that's why we're going to talk a little bit more about stakeholders next. As you go through your organization, you can use this information, which expands a little bit about what I just explained with some more detail. But it's just really easy to have those 4 different types of classifications, and you think in the back of your mind, okay, I'm talking to someone who gets it and doesn't really have much influence, or I'm talking with someone who has a lot of influence and doesn't want to change. And then you have conversations around that, not directly with the person. You don't attack them, say, you got to change now. But you summarize your findings, you go back to your leadership team, and you say, here's what I'm seeing. How are we going to address it? Here's the project plan. This is what I'm seeing. I don't understand how I can be successful in this type of environment. And when you do that, your organization appreciates your communication skills, your leadership skills, your project management skills. And it just shows a really high level of maturity and understanding how business process improvement works and what you need to do to succeed.